We will be working with resources inflows all the time. Let's look at the different types we have. We have a constant, and this is a fixed value like pi. We also have a variable, and this is when we know that the value might change. Something like the mood right now is happy, but at a later time down the road, mood changes from happy to not happy anymore. We also have a formula, and this is when we need to manipulate the data type. And remember, formulas calculate when they get called only. They don't calculate and store that value. They only calculate when they get called. So when you take that formula and you assign it to a variable, the output of a formula, and you assign it to a variable, it's when the assignment happens that the formula calculates. We have a text template data type, and this is when you want to create a rich text, something like an email body. And then we have choices. If you were to add a pick list to a screen and you need to add some choices, you would create choice data types. We have a collection choice set or a record choice set, and both of them behave similarly. You basically query a certain object, some records, and then you specify a field from which we extract these values as a set. An example is go to an account object, grab the first 3 account records, and from these account records, grab the account name for each one of them, and that's the list that we will have returned. And then you can take that list and add it to a pick list on a screen to display these values as choices. We also have a pick list choice set, and this is where you specify an object and then you specify a pick list, and whatever that pick list choices it got, then these are the choices that are returned. And then we have a stage, and this is used when you add a progress bar on a screen in a screen flow. You set the stage before the screen, and then it's going to show up on that progress bar. When you select a variable, you're going to have to specify the data types, and I'm sure that you're familiar with all of these. Text, Boolean, or a checkbox, number, currency, date, date time, a pick list, a multi-select pick list, a record, and then an Apex defined data type. And Apex defined data type is like a record. You have an object. If you were to select a record, you select a record from an object. If you were to select an Apex defined, you select an Apex defined from an Apex class. An example is contact object, and then you can access fields like first name. So you could access contact.firstname. Apex defined, let's say we have an Apex class called car, and then we have a variable called speed, so you can access car.speed. We are not using Apex defined in this course, but just to be familiar with it. Now there is the concept of collections, and for every one of those variable data types that we just looked at, we can create a collection from that. An example is if we create a text variable to store the value of summer. So this is storing only one value. Another example is if you have a text variable in which we are storing the value of winter. A text collection, on the other hand, stores more than one value. So we can have summer and winter. And one thing to note here, just like that highlights the importance of proper naming, is that you notice that the text variable and the text collection variable, both of them have the same icon. So you wouldn't tell from the icon that this is a text collection or a text, and that's why you need to name things like text and text collections differently to tell which one is which. And the concept of collection applies to all data types. So we can have a collection of text, we can have a collection of numbers, we can have a collection of dates, and so on.